the U.S. economy is facing serious problems. The country is not as strong as it once was. Many people don't want to talk about it, and instead they pretend everything is fine. But that's not helping. Instead of fixing the problems, the country is blaming others and becoming more aggressive. History shows us this kind of behavior happens when powerful nations begin to decline. The British Empire went through this, and now it's America's turn. The 20th century was great for the U.S., but the 21st century is full of new challenges. Avoiding these issues won't solve anything. Leaders often point fingers at other countries and say, they are the reason for our problems. But that's not true. The truth is, the U.S. has benefited a lot from global trade and economics, especially the wealthiest people. It's not the fault of foreign countries. Blaming them is just a way to distract people from the real issues. The U.S. is not as powerful as it used to be. Other countries have grown stronger and are not willing to be pushed around. When American leaders threaten the world, they risk serious consequences. Telling other countries not to fight back only increases the chances they will. One strategy being used is tariffs. A tariff is a kind of tax added to products imported from other countries. When an American company brings something in from abroad, it has to pay this tax. That cost often gets passed to regular people who buy those products. So, in reality, American consumers pay the price. Some leaders say other countries are paying the tariffs, but that's not true. Just like the claim that Mexico would pay for the border wall, it's not happening. It's just another American tax, and it affects everyday people. What's strange is that the U.S. government, especially the Republican Party, used to be against taxes. Now they are using tariffs, which are just another form of tax. That's a big change, and it shows how deep the country's problems have become. These actions won't fix much. The U.S. no longer has the control it once had. Putting taxes on imports might give a small boost to some businesses, but it also raises prices for everyone. When prices go up, workers suffer. Things become more expensive and it gets harder to make ends meet. Even local producers raise their prices because they face less competition. This leads to inflation. Everything costs more. Tariffs may help a few jobs, but they can also hurt others. For example, American workers who make things to sell overseas might suffer when other countries put their own tariffs in place. That means fewer exports and possibly job losses. No one knows whether the job losses will be more or less than the jobs saved. It's a gamble. And if it doesn't work, it could push the economy into a recession. When prices go up, people buy less, and that means companies sell less and may lay off workers. This approach feels desperate. It's like throwing a long football pass and hoping someone catches it. It's not a plan, it's a hope. During Trump's first term, one of the biggest moves was the tax cut of 2017. That law helped the rich and big companies, but it was set to expire in 2025. If that happens, those groups will pay more taxes again. Trump doesn't want that because those are his strongest supporters. So if taxes don't go up but the government keeps spending, where will the money come from? Borrowing. But borrowing more means depending on other countries to lend money, and they may not be willing to do that anymore. To deal with this, Trump's plan is to cut spending. But instead of reducing costs for the rich, he wants to cut programs that help working-class people. We see this in companies firing workers without notice and calling it efficient. But firing people quickly isn't smart or efficient. It's just cruel. It doesn't solve the root of the problem. The government is trying to solve the wrong issue by hurting the people who are already struggling. Making imported goods more expensive hurts shoppers. If American companies raise prices too, that's even worse. The sad part is that other countries are starting to work together in response to U.S. actions. European countries, once divided, are uniting. Asian countries like China, Japan, and South Korea are also working more closely together. Ironically, the U.S. is pushing the world to team up against the U.S. This is a sign that the American empire is shrinking. Instead of bringing countries together like it used to, the U.S. is now pushing them away. Years ago, the U.S. wanted to stop other powers from growing too strong. Now, the world is trying to contain the U.S. The country is becoming isolated politically and economically. At the United Nations, the U.S. often stands alone on important issues. Even if Americans don't see it, the rest of the world views the U.S. as a country in decline. And that view shapes how they act. A former Greek finance minister said Trump's plan might be more complex than it seems. He argued that the real goal of tariffs is to scare other countries into lowering their interest rates. If their currencies fall, it could cancel out the price increase for U.S. consumers. In that case, foreign countries would bear the cost. While this idea is interesting, most experts don't agree. Tariffs have been around for centuries, and their effects are always uncertain. Many things affect the outcome. Interest rates, currency values, global events. It's impossible to predict exactly what will happen. That's why for over 50 years, the US followed free trade policies. It helped the country grow. But now, those days are over. The US can't win using the old system, so it's going back to economic nationalism. This is a huge change, and it makes the world more unstable. Free trade was the main idea for half a century. Ignoring that now is risky. Maybe Trump is right and everyone else was wrong, but that's a dangerous bet. More likely, he's doing this for political survival. He wants to fix the economy without admitting there's a problem. These strategies usually don't end well. Now we see different parts of the world pulling away. Europe, Asia, and America forming separate groups. But the US is weaker than it used to be. Even in conflicts like the war in Ukraine, the US misjudged how other countries like China and India would help Russia. That support is changing the course of the war. We're not saying who's right or wrong. The point is, these global shifts show that power is moving. The US isn't calling the shots like it used to. Many believe we're witnessing the slow end of the American empire. It's been happening for over a decade. Look at the numbers. The US and its allies, the G7, make up about 28% of the world's economy. The BRICS countries like China, India, Brazil, etc. now make up about 35%. That makes them stronger, economically. In the past, if a country wanted to build a railroad or a healthcare system, they'd ask the US or the UK for help. They still do, but now they also go to China, India, and Brazil, and often get better offers. These new partners are providing faster results with fewer conditions. They also offer financing options that are easier for smaller economies to handle. More and more developing countries are turning toward new partners. These countries want deals that are fair and focused on growth. They want to work with nations that listen to their needs, not just ones with power. China and India are becoming more influential, while the US is seen as stuck in old ways. Countries are choosing cooperation over control, and that shift is reshaping global relationships. The world is changing fast. The US could adjust and play a smart role in this new world. But like someone dealing with addiction, the first step is admitting there's a problem. That means accepting reality and being open to change. Without that, the US risks falling further behind in global leadership. That kind of honesty takes courage. It means accepting that past strategies no longer work. It means listening, learning, and building new partnerships based on respect. It means treating other countries as equals and not as threats. That's what leadership looks like today. The US still has great potential. Its people are creative, its businesses are strong, and its resources are vast. But without a clear plan and honest leadership, that strength will fade. Time is running out. Right now, America refuses to admit it, and that could be the biggest problem of all.